Lion in the Wind, Chapter 26. Elgar walked into Black's office. "We got him," he said with a grin of satisfaction on his face. "Got who?" "Brakeman. We caught him sneaking around the south end of the facility." Black grinned with evil delight. "Excellent. Did you get anything from him yet?" Elgar shook his head. "No, nothing useful. He appears to have selectively wiped segments of his memory before coming here. Our scientists have tried recovering the data in those areas, but so far have been unsuccessful." Black swore. "Well, tell them to keep trying. If they can't get anything useful by tomorrow morning, have him tossed in the smelter. I don't want to risk him escaping." Elgar nodded. "Understood." Delgra and Odivian walked into a dark, seedy, side alley bar and sat down at a booth near the back. They then studied the room cautiously, but found nothing suspicious. A few minutes later a man appeared from the shadows near the back door and slipped into their booth. He wore a thick, heavy trench coat and wide-brimmed hat that hid his face in a veil of shadows. "It is good to see you again, my friends," came a deep, but familiar voice. Delgra leaned over the table, and said, "What do you have for us, Oik?" "Not much, I'm afraid. It seems that your government is either ignorant of Black's plans, or they're comfortably in his pocket," he said. "What about Fergant? Has he found any possible Mitizen or Gorg connections to this plan?" Oik shook his head. "He's found nothing. They are both too busy rebuilding their countries to bother with internal Yigzan politics at this time." Delgra nodded. "Good. What of your underworld contacts? Have they found anything?" Oik shrugged. "They have nothing new to report either. Although one of them did suggest something that I thought was interesting." "Do tell," said Delgra. "My contact said that Bergen's lions may be Mr. Black's current target. Nobody is sure why, but it appears that they may be important to his plans." "Then this recall is connected to him?" asked Odivian. Oik nodded. "That is very likely the case. But there is no information on why they are being recalled, other than what has been reported in the news. Some speculate that he may be trying to remove them as a threat before he strikes out on the next phase of his plans." "Do you know what those plans are?" asked Delgra. Oik shrugged. "I do not. Nor do any that I have talked to. But the underworld has become very disturbed by his actions and fears something terrible is coming." Odivian nodded. "That's why we're involved. If his motives are treasonous, we'll want to stop him before he gets too far." Oik nodded. "As do we. We fear that his plans may affect all of our races. I have been in touch with my superiors, and all of our resources are at your disposal should you need them." Delgra nodded. "Thank you. I just hope it doesn't come to that." "So do I," said Oik. Chigani walked slowly up to the main gate of Black's laboratory and studied the 4 men that stood guard there. One of them eyed him briefly, and then got on the phone to his superiors. The other 3 cautiously cradled their weapons and stared suspiciously at him as he continued to approach. Finally the first guard hung up the phone and motioned Chigani to a smaller side gate. The man opened it for him and allowed the lion to pass. "Mr. Black is waiting for you in his office. One of the other guards will escort you there," said the man. "I know where it is," replied Chigani as he continued on past the gate. "But hey, wait. You need an escort," shouted the man. He stepped forward to stop Chigani, but paused as several of Black's personal bodyguards swooped in from the shadows and fell in behind the lion. They quickly escorted him across the facility to Black's office. Upon entering, Black walked up to him with open arms. "Chigani. I'm so glad to see you. Come in, sit down," he said excitedly. Chigani followed him across the room and then sat down in front of the desk. Black, in turn, sat down in his chair across from him with a flair of royal elegance. "Mr. Chigani. What can I do for you today?" asked Black. Chigani's eyes narrowed slightly. "I'm here to discuss the order requesting my siblings and I to turn ourselves in," he said. Black nodded. "It's sad, isn't it? Such beautiful minds, and yet they want to dispose of you like yesterday's refuse. I really do feel that you are being woefully wronged by the actions of our government. It's completely unfair, he said in a patronizing voice. Do you know why we are being recalled? Asked Chigani. Black shrugged. It's simple really. You are strong. Those in power fear the strong, therefore the government fears you. It was only a matter of time before they decided that you were too dangerous to keep around. So now they want to do away with you. They know power when they see it, and they see yours with great clarity. Chigani raised an eyebrow. Black stood up and began to walk slowly around his desk. I know this is very difficult for you and your family, what with the disappearance of your parents. However, if you will allow me, I can make this go away as though it never happened, he said, a hint of arrogance in his voice. How would you do that? Asked Chigani. Well, it's quite simple really. You swear that you will serve me without question and I will guarantee that this order goes away. Chigani's eyes narrowed slightly as Black smiled beatifically. How would our loyalty to you cause the government to rescind its orders? Asked Chigani. By pledging your loyalty to me, you would no longer be perceived as a threat, and thus they would have no reason to fear you anymore, as you would be obedient to me, and I to them. But I have disobeyed orders before. Yes, but you were within your right to do so. Under my leadership, such forays of conscience would not be permitted. This would, in turn, take away the very thing they fear about you. So if you have no freedom of will to turn against them, then they have no reason to fear you. Chigani cocked his ears slightly. If I were to swear allegiance to you, what would I be required to do? Black tried not to act giddy as he looked at the lion. Just some small things really. As you have seen, our government is corrupt. I would wish to see that corruption removed through whatever means necessary. Chigani folded his ears back and narrowed his eyes. You would overthrow the government? He asked. Black laughed disingenuously. No, no. Not at all. I'm no traitor, he said, smiling innocently. Ah, but you are, thought Chigani. Then how would you make this change? He asked. By taking the steps required by law to achieve any changes that are needed, said Black. How will our loyalty to you achieve this? By facing strength with strength. A strong man will not change his ways unless forced to by another strong man. You and your siblings will make me that strong man, a man who can right the wrongs of this world and bring justice to all. I see. Black grinned gleefully. Oh, this is going better than I ever imagined, he thought. Think of it this way, Chigani. What has our government ever done for you? When your father first conceived of you, they saw your potential and sought to prevent your creation. But I too saw your potential and rescued you and your father before you were anything more than a few scribbles on a piece of paper. I helped him create you, to give you life, and to help you grow. I assisted your mother when she needed things. I even protected you and your family when others would have thrown you to the wind, he said. Black spun on his heels and walked slowly back to his chair as he peered at Chigani through the corner of one eye. Then war came and you were drafted. It was a war they started. Yet they did not want to clean up the problems themselves. So they sent you. But the Gorg in Midison started the war. Black snapped his head around and glared at the lion. Nonsense. That is what they want you to believe. Think about it, Chigani. What have they ever done for you? They have only shown you misery, heartache, and loss. But I have gone out of my way to help you. I was the one who made everything you now have possible. I have even committed a significant portion of my resources towards finding your parents. Is it too much for me to ask for your allegiance as a small token of your gratitude for what I've done? There are so many forces fighting against you. Why not join with me and together we can right the wrongs of this world, said Black passionately and with such flair that it surprised Chigani. Black then gracefully sat down in his chair as though he were emperor of the world. He then folded his hands together and studied Chigani intently. So, what is your decision? He asked, a hint of devilish glee in his voice. I've got to think of something I can use to stall him. If I say no, he'll kill me before I can get out of here. But I can't say yes, thought Chigani. He struggled within his mind for several moments, analyzing numerous ideas as he tried to choose one that would work best. Black patiently watched the lion as he sat before him, eyes closed, and his mind deep in thought. Good, good. Mull it over, Mr. Lion. I own you and you know it, thought Black. Finally, Chigani settled on an idea. He then opened his eyes. Your offer has merit. But I cannot give you my answer at this time, he said. Black swore quietly to himself. Why wait? Make your decision now, he said with passion. Chigani shook his head. My siblings and I are all free minds. We each choose our own path in life. However, big decisions such as this which involve our entire family require that I consult with my siblings first before I can give you an answer, said Chigani. Black grinned. Ah, you're stalling for time so you don't look like a pushover. Very smart, Mr. Lion. But in the end, I already own you, he thought to himself. He nodded, and said, that is fine. Go share with them the wonderful opportunity one have given you, and then come back to me with your decision when you are ready. Chigani nodded. I will. As Chigani cleared the main gate of Black's facility, he was greeted by several other lions who appeared out of the nearby reed grass and joined him as he ran. What did you find out? Asked Rank. Black wants to take over the government. For some reason I don't find that surprising, said Rank flatly. What do we do now? Asked Ithaca. We must warn our family and prepare them for what lies ahead, said Chigani. Shouldn't we get some help first? Asked Rank. Yes, we will. And I know just the people who can help us. Elgar walked into Black's office, and then paused as he spied Black grinning devilishly. He raised an eyebrow in interest. Did something good happen, sir? He asked. Black grinned at him with devilishly glee. The lions are ours, he said happily. Elgar grinned. So what does that do to our plans? He asked. With the lions in our employ, we can finally achieve our goal of conquering our nation and taking it as our own, said Black. But what of the new prototype? Asked Elgar. Black nodded. It will be used too. But what if the lions don't join us? Black gave Elgar a disbelieving glance. I have all but guaranteed their allegiance to us. He may have seemed hesitant when he left here, but I know that he is ours, he said confidently. But Elgar wasn't convinced. Brakeman cautiously peered over the top of a parapet at Black's northern facility and studied the courtyard below. Good. Just a few guards. He glanced back towards the facility. Hopefully I can get out of here without getting smelted down. If they hadn't fallen for my decoy earlier, I'd be scrapped by now, he thought. He reached into his pack and pulled out a small data card. Hopefully this has everything we need to stop Black. Because I don't think I'll get another crack at his network again anytime soon. He returned the card to his pack and then turned to one of his spider droids. Find us some transportation. Preferably something big, like a truck. The droid acknowledged the order and immediately scurried off. After several minutes it reported back that it had found a large, abandoned army truck. Not what I had hoped for, but it'll do, thought Brakeman. He turned to another of his droids, and said, gather everyone together and meet me at the truck. We need to get out of here. The droid acknowledged the order and hurried away. Brakeman then made his way off the parapet, past several incapacitated guards, and down to where the truck sat waiting for him. He found the back filled with numerous small droids. Several more waited for him in the front. A quick visual inventory told him that all of his spiders were present. He quickly climbed into the cab, and said, let's get moving. The truck then pulled out of the loading dock and sped across the facility, its twin electric motors and hydrogen power pack allowing it to move with great speed and stealth. But as they approached the inner gate, Brakeman noticed something that he didn't like. It was closed. Oh, great. They locked the gate and that thing is too thick to smash through. Looks like we'll have to open it the hard way, he thought. He climbed out onto the roof of the cab and waited patiently as the truck sped towards the gate. As it drew close, the truck began to slow, but did not stop as two of the guards at the gate curiously watched it approach. It had no lights on and nobody appeared to be in the driver's seat. "That's odd, isn't it?" asked one of the guards. "Nah, it's probably just another one of Mr. Black's robotic toys," said the other. "Well, we need to check it out anyways," said the first. Suddenly Brakeman launched himself from the hood of the truck and crashed into the first guard like a sledgehammer. The blow knocked the man unconscious and drove him to the ground with a thud. Brakeman quickly recovered, and with several quick, powerful blows, sent the second guard crashing to the ground with a bone-jarring thud. The guard tried to get back up but was quickly knocked out cold by a solid kick to the face. Hearing the commotion, two other guards, who'd been standing in the nearby guard booth, stepped out into the open to investigate. They were immediately put out of action as well. Brakeman then quickly checked the area and, seeing that it was all clear, ordered his droids to drag the guards out of sight. As they did, he slipped into the control booth and opened the gate. It rumbled briefly and then began to open. "Go! Go!" said Brakeman to the droids driving the truck. The droids punched the accelerator and sent the truck barreling through the gate. As soon as it was clear, Brakeman activated the gate mechanism and then sprinted through it as it began to close. He then joined his other droids in the back of the truck. They soon reached the outer gate, where they quickly neutralized the guards there as well, clearing the way for the truck to escape into the prairie. As soon as they were safely away, Brakeman climbed out of the back and into the passenger's seat. "Let's get moving and don't spare the H2, he said as he sat down. The droids chirped in acknowledgement, and then pushed the truck to its limits as it barreled down the long, narrow road that led away from Black's facility.